Hi, my name is Elvira Johnson. I'm the career counselor at Wayne Community College, and I'm here today to talk about choosing a career. This is part of the series, the job search series that I'm doing in conjunction with the Wayne County Public Library and Wayne Community College. So right now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about choosing a career. This is a very daunting task for a lot of people. Believe it or not, most people choose a career based on what their parents did, or somebody told me that I would be good at doing this or that. But when you're choosing a career, your best career, I like to use a little equation. So it's your skills plus your talents. You multiply that by your preferences, and to that you add a job, and that equals your best career. So let's break those things down to actually give a definition of those terms so we're all on the same page. So a skill is something that you learn how to do. We have several hundred skills. You've learned to drive, we learned to talk, we learned to communicate. We've learned technology skills for the workplace. We've learned office skills. We have phone skills. So a skill is anything that you have learned to do versus a talent is basically something that you're born with, that your natural ability, maybe your own preferences, personality, which leads us into preferences. And preferences a lot of times are situational in nature. What would you do in this situation? You have a preference for this versus that. So when you get all of those things in perspective, then you're really ready to start looking at what careers are out there. And then most people do this backwards. They take the career and try to form it into their skills, and they try to see if they have any talent for that career that they've already selected. And then they try to put themselves into the right preference for that career, rather than identifying your skills, your talents, and your preferences first, and then you go out and find a career that matches, well, those things that are already innate to you. So some things to help you to determine what those skills are. There are some formal assessments that you can use, but there's some basic questions. Let me ask you some basic questions, and maybe we can get a little bit more to the heart of what your skills are and your talents are. So the first one is, what do you like to do? What are your interests? What are some of the things when you were in school, what was your favorite course? What do you like to do with your free time? What kind of things do you like to read? What type of TV shows do you like? Those are things that are more towards what do you like, your interest. Secondly, what type of skills do you find yourself using most often? Like I said before, we all have a lot of skills. But what comes kind of easy to you? That's kind of hard for most people. What do you find yourself doing most often? What are you known for? What do you really like about yourself? What is something that you've always wanted to try? I've always wanted to ride in a hot air balloon. I think that has a lot more to do with courage than actually interests. What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? And how are you using your strengths to overcome your weaknesses? Next question, what kind of person are you? What are some of your talents? What are some of the skills that you've learned? What evokes an emotional response? What angers you when you think about it? What are some topics that you say, something really needs to be done about this? These are your true interests. Amongst your friends, what role do you portray? Are you the peacemaker? Are you the one that everyone comes and talks to? Are you the organizer? What is your role amongst your family and friends? And what kind of person am I? What do you like to do for fun? Next question. What is important to you at work? Do you think for a job, is it more important for you to make lots of money at the job that you're doing? Is it more important for you to feel like you're making a difference in society when you go home from work every day? Is it most important for you to get along really well with your coworkers? If you had a job offer, if you had 3 different job offers and they all offered 3 different areas that I just spoke of, which one would you choose? The one that makes the most money? The one that has the great work environment? or the one that gives you a certain sense of accomplishment each day when you went home? And speaking of accomplishments, what accomplishments are you the most proud of? And when you think about this question, think about it as far as your job is concerned. Because for some people, what we would prefer personally may not always translate right into our job preferences. And then the final question is, how are you going to get experience? How have you gotten experience? The environment that you've set up for yourself, where do those preferences come from? What influences are working on you? Have you been influenced? What friends have you been influenced by? Have you been influenced by family members? Have you been influenced by places that you've lived? I am a military brat. My father was in the Air Force for 26 years, so I grew up in the military. So I was influenced by moving different places. So that makes me a more outgoing person. That's easy for me to make friends. What types of things have molded you to be the person and have the personality that you have right now? Because choosing the right career is really mostly about looking inside yourself and looking and seeing what your personality is so that you can choose a career that you will be happy doing. A recent survey showed that over 67% of the people who have a job right now are unhappy with where they're working. So that means only 33% of the people are actually satisfied with what they're doing every day. And some people do this for years. So don't join the ranks of those people. Take a little bit of time ahead of time to really think about some of these questions. Write them down if you need to. Play this video over, stop it, and answer these questions. I give a lot of presentations, and when I do this one, I stop, I have everyone take out a piece of paper and actually write down answers to these questions so you can get a really good grasp on the best way for you to choose a career. But don't forget about the formal assessments as well. There are lots of assessments that you can take. Most of them are free. Search the internet. There's a personality assessment, like Myers-Briggs assessment. There's interest assessment, a strong interest assessment. There are preferences, assessments that you can take for your preferences. So, those assessment results, along with a good career counselor, they can actually give you an entire package to tell you exactly what would be a great career for you. And when they give you those results, a lot of times it'll be something that you really never even really thought about. But that may be the real you. It could be that you have actually been listening to other people tell you what's best for you, rather than looking inside yourself and listening to yourself. So if you're ready to choose the right career for you, look inside yourself, trust your instincts, and give yourself permission to trust the outcomes and look at what the results are telling you so that you can actually make a good choice that will give you a career that can last a lifetime.